This is the second mission of the Imperial Core Campaign Temptation. The Imperial Open groups are Rodian hired guns and Imperial jet troopers. The rebels spent all of their credits on a back-to-pump and a hand cannon. Vinto Harita is activating first, and he's firing. He spent a strain for a movement point, and then he fired this hand cannon at the stormtrooper, killing it. And then Bolt Slinger dealt the damage to that stormtrooper, and then he fires at that stormtrooper, dealing 1 damage to it. The Rodian hired guns are activating next. The first one moves and fires at Vinto. The second one moves and also fires at Vinto Harita. And after that, Gideon Argus is going to activate, and he's going to use command on Diala Apostle to have her perform a move, and then he's going to strain for 2 movement points and perform a move. And then the Elite Nexu moves, and it moves and attacks Diala Apostle. After the Elite Nexu attacks her, she uses 1 action to discard the bleed condition, and then she rests. After that, the first Stormtrooper group activates. The first one fires at Vinto Harita. He uses a squad training reroll. And the second one also, then he moves, and the second one fires at Vinto Harita, and also moves. After that, Gideon Argus is going to activate. He's going to strain for a movement point, rest, and then command Diala Apostle, who attacks the Elite Nexu. And then the Royal Guards are going to activate with the last activation of the round. Both of them double move to try and block that hallway before it's the end of the round, and Diala is going to make an insight check, which she succeeds, so only 1 token is discarded. By the end of the round, Gideon has no damage, Diala 3, and Vinto 7. With the first activation of round 2, Gideon Argus attacks the Elite Nexu, then he uses command on Diala, who attacks the Elite Nexu. After that, the Royal Guards activate, both moving next to and attacking Gideon Argus. The first one attacks Gideon and ends up dealing 3 damage to him. The second one attacks Gideon and deals 2 damage to him. And then the Rebels activate Diala Apostle, who attacks the Elite Nexu twice. She has the surges, but she didn't stun the Nexu. She should have. And after she finishes attacking the Nexu, the Elite Nexu activates, which attacks Diala. Bleeds her again, and then it moves down the hallway to try and block it. Vinto Harita is activating, and he's moving, and with that, he gets to use Shot on the Run, so he tests Insight and deals a damage, and then he also attacks. And with the 6th activation of round 2, the hired guns both move and shoot. Also, I think we might have forgotten to apply the bleed that the Nexu gave to Diala. But hey, mistakes happen, you know, it's part of this game. Imperial player can only keep track of so much. After that, Vinto Harita activates. He strains for a movement point, spends his first action to pick up the adjacent crate, and then he fires at the Elite Nexu. He kills the Elite Nexu. He finds a med pack in the crate. Then with the last activation of the round, the Stormtroopers move and fire. And after they're done attacking by the end of the round, Gideon will have 5 damage and 2 strain. Diala will have 12 damage and 1 strain. Vinto Harita ends up with 7 damage and 1 strain. Diala makes and succeeds her save. Imperial player deploys a unit of jet troopers. Apostle starts the round with a double rest. The Royal Guards activate and they move and attack Vinto. One of these Royal Guards ends up stunning Vinto. After they're done, Vinto Harita activates. He removes the stun and then fires the Royal Guard right in his face, dealing 2 damage and 1 damage with Bolt Slinger. Stormtroopers activate next and they attack, get their squad training rerolls. After that, Gideon activates, followed with another error. He strains for 2 movement points. This would have required 3 movement points, and you can only strain for 2, so he wouldn't have been able to rest, and then he wouldn't have been able to command because he would have had too much strain. But he does, and Vinto attacks, and then the hired guns are activating, and they attacked Gideon, and then Diala activates, and she moves over there and rests. Jet troopers activate, and they fire, and then they move backwards to try and block that door. Now, because this is the end of round 3, Diala can choose a bunch of different options, and she chooses to claim a token as one of her things. So then when she succeeds on her check in the net of things, no tokens are lost at all. And the Royal Guard gets an attack. At the end of the round, Gideon has 3 damage, Diala 11, and Vinto 9. Vinto rests, uses the emergency med pack, and attacks the Royal Guard in front of him. And after both attacks with Bolt Slinger damage and all, he ends up killing a Royal Guard, so he strains for 2 movement points. And after that, the Stormtrooper unit activates, and both of them double move into the hallway. Gideon activates, strains for 2 movement points. He uses command on Vinto Harita, who attacks the Royal Guard, and then Gideon Argus is going to attack the Royal Guard himself, finally killing it. After that, the Rodian hired guns activate, and they attack Diala and then move into the hallway. After the Rodian's activation, Diala activates and she double rests. The Jet Troopers activate now. They move and they fire at Vinto. And figures don't block line of sight for these mobile creatures, so yeah, they get to attack Vinto over their Rodians. Gideon activates, rests, and commands Vinto. By the end of the round, Gideon has no damage and no strain, Diala has no strain and 4 damage, and Vinto has 2 strain and 2 damage. Vinto activates, makes the same OP mistake Gideon made, where he gets 3 movement points for the price of 2, and then he attacks the Jet Troopers twice, and with Bolt Slinger he ends up killing the adjacent Stormtrooper. Then the hired guns activate, and they fire at Vinto Harita. He dodges. That hired gun moves over to the door. The next hired gun shoots at Vinto also. This time he is successful, and he also moves to the door. After that, Gideon Argus strains for 2 movement points. He attacks, and after he attacks the Jet Trooper, and after that he uses command on Diala Apostle, who moves. Then the Jet Troopers activate, and they move, and they fire at Diala. After the Jet Troopers are done activating, Diala activates, and she attacks twice. The Rodians get parting shot attacks. Diala makes her save. I believe because Diala claims a token, this Jet Trooper gets a free attack against her, but she dodges. The elite next to is redeployed. Gideon has 2 strain, Diala has 4 damage, Vinto has 7 damage. Gideon Argus activates first, he strains for a movement point, attacks, and then he also commands Vinto Harita. After that, the elite next to activates, and it attacks Vinto Harita. Vinto activates next, he spends an action to remove bleed, and then he attacks. Next, the Lonely Jet Trooper is moving, and he's attacking as well. Following that, Diala activates, and she attacks twice. And she kills the Jet Trooper. Claiming the second token, Diala activates again, attacking the elite next to. Then she strains for movement points to move next to the door. And she passes her save. At the end of the round, Gideon has 5 strain, Diala has 4 damage, and Vinto has 14 damage and 1 strain. Diala activates first and opens the door, and Darth Vader is deployed. She then strains for a movement point and attacks Darth Vader. She also uses Precise Strike. Darth Vader activates, he uses his first action to remove stun, and then he uses Force Choke on Diala. Vinto Harita then activates, he strains for movement points and attacks Darth Vader twice. Activating next is Gideon, who rests and uses command on Vinto Harita. Claiming the second token, Vinto Harita activates again, and then after Gideon, and he attacks Darth Vader an additional 2 times. Diala passes her save. Rodian hired guns are redeployed. Gideon has 2 strain, Diala has 5 strain, 5 damage. Vinto has 14 damage and 3 strain. The round starts with Vinto attacking Darth Vader, and really this is the end of this, the last round of this mission. The Rebels actually win it. They end up beating Vader, but they could have beat Vader a lot sooner if Vinto had attacked the Rodian hired guns and then used Bolt Slinger. Yeah, Vinto gets wounded again.
Yeah, if he had used Bolt Slinger and attacked the hired guns, he could have dealt that last damage to Vader and ended the mission immediately, but it drags on. The Rebels end up winning anyway. They would have won regardless. She has a lot of tokens left, and she could have precise striked. But it was a good mission. I don't know what the next mission will be yet. Uh, we didn't draw the cards and stuff. Technically, we didn't finish all of the mission cleanup stuff. Also, I forgot to mention at the beginning of this mission, Vinto sold his starting weapon. That was how they afforded everything. That was, thank you for joining me for this battle report of Imperial Assault. And there's that lovely lightsaber. Oh, yeah.